Oh,
All right, welcome to Whyspace.
hi, guys.
Becca, how are you?
We are surviving over here in
Mm-hmm.
the San Antonio heat.
Mm.
Then
Mhm.
this heat, I can't do it.
Yeah, so I would define your lovely host here, both of us, as surviving, maybe not thriving.
Yes, that's
Okay.
accurate. This isn't
Okay.
our year. 2024 is not our year.
No, there's a few things that could make it my year.
That's
Here's
true.
looking at you, Travis, and any jewelers you may be speaking to. But yeah, it's not. It has not been a bang up year, and we're starting the third quarter.
Yes.
So, like, really, we're on the downward side of 2024.
Yeah. Work wise, we are. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's been on the downward slope since day one for me personally, but yes, work wise too. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw
But,
something the other day that there was only like so many Fridays left until Christmas. And I was like, I am not ready to jump to that. And I'm like let's celebrate Christmas early. We decorate early and all those things. I'm just not ready to make that leap yet. So I need people to
yeah.
calm me down.
You
5 degrees outside, I can't have somebody talking about snowmen. It's just the two don't equate.
know, I'm okay with, counting down things, but I would prefer, let's start with order of priorities that we are only, what is it now, 7 Sundays from NFL football?
Listen, I believe you're correct. And
Because
that,
this is our last month with like no football.
yes,
Glory be.
praise the saints.
I think we're going to make it. I mean, I can't
Well,
guarantee.
we only have like a 2-week break that we don't, what are we supposed to do with our lives? Because then the Olympics will start. So we at least have that to hold us over.
Yeah.
But the 2 weeks that we still have until the Olympics, I'm not really quite sure what we're expected to do as humans.
Well, and listen, folks, if you listen to us and you also listen to New Heights, I kind of think is that we have a crossover, a pretty significant amount. I mean, they have way more listeners than we do, but I think a lot of our listeners.
I bet they don't have 31 from Alaska.
I'd like to know. I need to double check where we're at in Alaska right now. But this is the season finale today of New Heights.
Yes.
Listen,
I didn't realize they were taking a break.
I don't think it was cleared anywhere. Again, no one asked about PTO.
It's not getting approved over here. So
No.
good for them for taking a break. But again, what are we supposed to do?
But really, do you need one? You should talk to your family every week anyway. So
it's true. And it's just a conversation. You're just having it on Skype.
And it looks like you have fun.
Locations.
And it looks like it's fun. So I don't understand the problem.
Listen, if you and I can make it happen, they can make it happen.
Seriously. Like they have more going on than we do.
Right?
Please.
The audacity.
Oh, well, but in NFL news, since they're trying to take a break, we're not going to. But we do have quite a bit of NFL news today. Let's see. There's a lot of articles and Instagram posts that came out this week.
Yes.
Some that I've taken issue with. I know you were shocked that has happened. But let's start with the post about the highest paid NFL players ever. Now,
okay,
I'm going to start with my first grievance. That first of all, when we say like highest paid, like this money does not make any sense to me.
No.
It just,
I don't know if it's guaranteed. I don't know if this includes extras for winning a Super Bowl or whatever. It's just, again, monopoly money is what this is to us.
Now, they have a little asterisk. Now, this came from, on Instagram, it's SOG football. I don't know what SOG stands for. I probably should have clicked to make sure this isn't some like terroristic organization, but if it is, I apologize. It says in their graphic that this is based on contract career earnings. Now, number one, I'm going to start at the top first. We have Aaron Rodgers, which, okay, I do think Aaron Rodgers will make the Hall of Fame. Do I like Aaron Rodgers? No. Do I think he should still be playing football? No. But okay, this dude, according to this graphic, $342 million so far, and he's still actively playing, followed closely behind by Tom Brady at $332 million. How he has $10 million more than Tom Brady?
But I do. See, and I always go back to like maybe they restructured their contracts because they were giving more money back to the teams. And I think there are some quarterbacks that do a better job of not taking everything because they realize I can only be as great as I am if I've got somebody that can catch the dang ball.
Mm-hmm. Well,
with Aaron Rodgers being one of those people that's like, let me leave some money on the table.
Well, see, I think Aaron Rodgers is like proof that he didn't do that because who was he throwing to in Green Bay? I mean, do you remember the name Jordy Nelson?
No.
Okay. He was great for a minute, retired super early. I mean, he had Devontae Adams.
Okay.
He got traded away.
Yeah.
He had Randall Cobb, which who hasn't had Randall Cobb?
That's true.
Thoughts and prayers. Glad that he survived the house fire that he had in Nashville, which was running amok. But I just don't get it. Brady obviously had all these weapons, like he had Gronk. He had Aaron Hernandez, which Edelman, even Amendola for a while was pretty useful. I mean, he had a lot of weapons, but then at the very, very tippy bottom of this graphic, in next to last place, one Patrick Mahomes at $136 million, a third of what Aaron Rodgers has.
Obviously, he's not played as long, so
okay,
he has 2 years to add to it.
I'll give you
However,
that.
Their contracts are for like large spans of time.
Right.
So it does shock me that all of these graphics that we pull up about highest paid this and highest paid that, Mahomes is almost never on those.
And I mean, then you have to argue, well, of anyone, I feel like every season he is restructuring the contract.
Yes.
And yet, like, outside of Trav, who was there before Patrick and who has already been very clear that he's not asking for more money, which, like, they don't get him the weapons. I mean, yeah, we've got Hollywood Brown now. We have Rasheed, but Rasheed's still on a rookie contract. And who knows if we really have
Xavier, but we don't know how good he's going to be yet.
I mean, so he's like restructuring to pay who? I guess the defense. I mean, they had to pay Chris Jones a lot of money.
That is true.
So I don't know. So, but I did think a couple other things were interesting. So if you scroll through this list, it's like quarterbacks amok. And the very first person that is not a quarterback at $179 million is Von Miller, which, again, someone who should be retired and is hanging on for dear life. Then you got some more quarterbacks, and then you get Trent Williams and Ndamukong Suh, Julius Peppers, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. Yeah. I don't know who Calais Campbell is, but one thing I noticed on here, no wide receivers.
Right.
And no running backs.
I'm just shocked that those aren't paid more.
And no tight ends. I mean, I say all that, no tight ends either.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know.
Those positions have been a little vocal about saying like they're not paid what they should be for what they give to the game.
I would argue that their bodies, especially running backs, I would just argue that their bodies really go through a lot to not be paid better.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's weird. But again, I'd be interested to see this list in 5 years.
Yes.
Because, all these people keep landing these massive deals, which half of them aren't worth a penny. But I don't know. I think it's interesting. Then the next story from the NFL on CBS. I feel like we end up having a lot of their content. So good on them. But this one is the biggest red flags for 20 NFL contenders in 2024, which, by the way, I'm not a marketing expert, but that long of a title is not going to help you in the SEO game. Just saying.
But I do love how they've done it as red flags. Listen, you'll get our attention.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here. Here we are talking about it. So I don't know. These don't appear to be ranked in any order. Like it's not like 20 through 1. Yeah. But I'm going to just start. There's a couple of pages of these. We'll just start on the first page, which the leading one is something I definitely call a red flag. Joe Burrow's health. Talks about how he's missed an extensive time due to injury in 2 of his 4 NFL seasons. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's built for the NFL.
It makes you wonder, like, is it just their body naturally can't hold up? or do they not train the right way as some of these other quarterbacks train?
Well, he's busy.
Or is your O-line just crap?
He's busy modeling. Okay.
He is.
And
Listen,
again, this is something I never would have. I mean, the comment of Joe Burrow modeling in a fashion show.
I just can't take you seriously.
Well, I just never saw that coming. I have no offense, but I don't see it.
Yeah. I did great. He walked really well.
I still don't understand what you were wearing. The back of your suit was gone, but
Yeah.
party
But
in
you
the back. I mean, I don't know.
You didn't get injured, so that's good.
Talks about how the Bills have an overhauled wide receiver core. I mean, I think it's funny that they use the word overhaul. I mean, we got rid of Stephon Diggs. Okay, great.
Right.
I
still stand by. I think that does overhaul them. I think that was a massive change.
I still just say the Bills are not. It's not going to happen. I mean, sorry, Bills Mafia. Deshaun Watson's availability. He's played a grand total of 12 games in the last 3 seasons. Now, I mean, obviously some of that was injury. A large portion was disciplinary actions. Are they saying based on availability, are they worried more is coming or is he going to get hurt again? What are we talking?
I just think once you've been out of the game as long as he has,
yeah,
I don't know that you're producing anything. I was shocked that the Browns even picked him up. Why would you pick a player that can't play because he was out for disciplinary reasons?
Honestly, last season they were really on the precipice for the first time in maybe our lifetime of something. And so to go back to him, I don't get it. The next one I was just kind of about the bet on running it back. Tampa Bay prioritized re-signing its own free agents this offseason. I assume that means Mike Evans and Baker Mayfield. I don't know what they were expected to do besides re-sign them.
Right.
Like, who wants to go to Tampa? I mean, I never understood why Brady did.
No.
So after that, we go to the next page. They got the Chargers with the stripped down wide receiver core. And I'm guessing this is because Keenan Allen went to the Bears, but you still have, and I'm not great at pronouncing things. Puku Nakuhu, that guy?
Nailed it.
Puku Nakuhu. I don't think that's accurate, but I thought this was a stretch. I don't think their wide receiver core was anything to write home about beforehand.
Yeah.
Keenan Allen's old. So, why are we worried? I don't know.
No.
Now, I took offense to the next one. Cornerback depth. Kansas City wouldn't have traded L'Jarius Sneed if Trent McDuffie hadn't emerged as a versatile starter in the secondary. Listen.
He was pretty good before last season.
He was, yeah. And here's the thing. The Chiefs didn't want to get rid of Sneed. Sneed wanted to get paid, and he deserved to get paid. I think he is going to be just like Tyreek and regret every second of leaving.
Yep.
Even if he don't win another ring, he ain't gonna win anything in Nashville. Godspeed, my friend. But also, there's a lot of people that when they talk to the Chiefs players, there's a lot of guys that were backups because Sneed was so much and McDuffie's so good.
Yeah.
That guys on the team are like, y'all don't know what we got in the back. So
yeah, their depth was really good on the Chiefs.
Let's just see. Next one makes me giggle. Contractual pressure at quarterback and head coach with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott is entering a contract year, and Mike McCarthy may not be retained.
McCarthy.
I don't know that I would define this as the key red flag of the Dallas Cowboys. I think that would be one Jerry Jones.
I agree. I think just the Jones family might be our red flag.
Sounds like it. And no slight if any of my friends from my hometown are listening. I know everybody's related. No slight at all to your family. I'm just saying from the business side.
It's not looking great for you.
But hey, you made some money, and y'all paid for great stadiums at our high school, so I'm good. But
yeah,
I think we've got more issues, and that's just kind of the glaring one. The next one was the Dolphins with the offensive line depth. The Dolphins have been very thin in the trenches. So this is like a means to an end red flag to me. I think that is a problem. But if I'm the Miami Dolphins, in all the money they've invested in all the wide receivers available, apparently, to me, I'm still worried about Tua's health.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, if your offensive line is terrible, Tua is going to get hit more.
Right.
So,
well, and I think Tua also, we go from bulked up Tua last year and doing certain things so he can like prevent the concussions to this year. It looks like he's slimmed down quite a bit. And I'm like, by this time in your career, my guy, I feel like you have figured out your lane health-wise, strength-wise, and all of that. So the fact that he keeps switching every year is a little concerning that they don't know what's going to work for him.
It seems desperate.
Yeah.
Like, let me just try anything. I do wonder, I mean, they are very unattractive, but I do wonder if Tua should try one of those Guardian helmets.
I do believe if anyone this season is going to actually wear that, it will be Tua. And I would probably, in my head, make fun of anyone that wears it. But if he wears it, I would probably be like, you know what? That was a good call.
I think it's worth a shot. I
think it's deserved in this situation.
Potentially. Yeah. The next page, we've got the Eagles, who I honestly would have, again, these aren't ranked, but that would have been one of my top stories.
Right.
Says the weight of expectation, their splashiest additions were on the boom or bust type, however, and they need both new coordinators to right the ship. Well, we keep forgetting that they've got Kellen Moore now as their offensive coordinator. We'll see what that does. I mean, let's face it, y'all. He was in Dallas and again, you were working with Dak, so there's that. But you still had CeeDee Lamb. You still had Tony Pollard. Like, you had some weapons. And, like, we couldn't win the game. So, and I think the problem, this whole headline for the Philadelphia Eagles, the red flag is Nick Sirianni, period. Yes. Like, end of story. The fact that they kept him is insane.
It'll be – so Kellen Moore, I always wonder with him – because everybody spoke so highly of him. So I wonder how much he got to coach and how much he was told from higher ups what he was allowed to do. So it'll be interesting to see if he has some more freedom and what he can do with the Eagles. But also that relies on Sirianni taking a step back and letting his coaches do what they're supposed to do. Because he had a few-year run where he was pretty good with that. But at least last year, if not the year before, it felt like he just wanted camera time. And so he was just all over the place. And that's when they seemed to crumble a little bit more.
Well, it's all downhill from when they came to the Chiefs and he made those crazy dramatic flares as he was leaving the field. If you were Kellen Moore, do you believe you would have more authority to like truly call the offense under Mike McCarthy or Nick Sirianni?
Nick Sirianni.
Younger.
Mike McCarthy was too far into the Jones family that he knew if he let his coaches get out of line that it would fall on him. So I think that they were all under such a thumb of doing exactly what they were told, even though clearly the Jones family has proven they should not be the ones calling the shots here. When's the last time you were in a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm. So. Well, we'll see. The Falcons, it says the talent of the wide receiver core. What if Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Rondell Moore are just serviceable? I mean, yes, I do think the wide receiver core is an issue in Atlanta, but again, I think ownership down, you have issues in Atlanta. I mean, the 49ers, it went with pass protection. Trent Williams could use some help keeping pockets clean. I guess. I don't know. Again, I'm going coach on this one. I'm going Shanahan, not just because of the mustache, which is a massive mistake.
I really hope that's just an off-season thing.
Is this going to be like the El Travador? I don't. Yeah.
Travis is the only one that can pull that off, and he only pulls it off because he's Travis.
Yeah, it's rough. But I don't know. I still think that what cost him the Super Bowl was the game that he called. Like,
yes,
not teaching your players the rules. I mean, let's be honest. Let's review that too. But
issues.
And then the Jaguars, it says the offensive structure, it's still unclear whether Doug Peterson or Press Taylor will call Trevor Lawrence's plays. I don't think it matters if it's Doug or Press calling it. It's if Trevor can stay healthy. Yeah. I mean, you've invested the whole kitchen sink on him, and what has he proven?
Right.
Speaking of the Jets, Aaron Rodgers' condition, New York is all in on the former MVP, but his ceiling at this stage is kind of a mystery. I'm going to go ahead and predict
he's
this
also not in practice, so
he's in Egypt. He's busy on one of his things.
Sitting in a dark room.
I'm going to make a prediction here. I know little El Predicto is not here today, Judd, but I'm going to predict that Rodgers misses at least 3 games this season.
I could see that.
That's my prediction. We're going to come back and check that. I'll make a note.
Okay.
I don't think even if he played every single game and every single down, I still don't think the Jets are going to amount to anything.
No.
On the Lions, they went with the youthful secondary. It's still a gamble for a contender to rely on so many unproven starters. I'll be honest, on the Lions, I didn't know what I would pick as their red flag. I don't know enough about their secondary and all that to know. I would almost, I actually thought they had less red flags than the 49ers in general.
Yeah. I kind of felt like they just had to pick something so they could keep them on here. Because you're right, I wouldn't have picked any real big red flags either.
Yeah. The Packers, they went with a youthful wide receiver core. I don't know that I wouldn't first look at my quarterback as maybe being a red flag. I don't know.
That could potentially do it.
Then on the Rams, they went with the durability of the quarterbacks. I was a little surprised by this because, wait a minute. Did I get that wrong? I did. Puka Nkuku, is he a Charger or a Ram? Let me look. I think I got that wrong.
Charger. No.
But now I'm like thinking, God, I can't even spell it to Google it.
I was about to say, what are you typing into Google?
Nakua. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, he's a Ram.
Oh.
What? Welcome to the show where we know nothing about anything.
Sorry.
So sorry about that with the Chargers. I mean, they need help everywhere. Okay, so on the Rams, though, durability of quarterbacks was not what I would have picked. Matt Stafford, I mean, yeah, he's been hurt before, but I feel like he takes a lot. Remember that Detroit game when he was clearly unconscious and got up and finished the game? Durability is not what comes to mind. I
think he's good.
Yeah.
He hasn't really proven. I mean, he's not, he hasn't won a Super Bowl, has he? Stafford?
No, they did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah, they did. Never mind.
Listen, we promise we know something. We just
watch the NFL. I promise.
Yeah, we've heard of football.
Let's move on to the next one.
Let's see. So with the Seahawks, they went offensive line. I think they have issues everywhere. The Steelers, I thought it was dumb. They picked the old school offensive approach.
Listen, I think for the Steelers, your problem is that you hired Arthur Smith. That's your red flag.
Well, but the thing that they mentioned in here was they were afraid he was going to go old school and do like run heavy. I'm going to argue with Russell Wilson, you're not going to go run heavy. He's going to throw the ball.
Right.
Like,
that's what he do.
Like, he didn't know how to do anything else. Hand it off to who? He's never had a running back. So, yeah. On the Texans, they went with the offensive line. Laramie Tunsil is well regarded, but his peers have been more hit or miss. I could maybe concur with that. I mean, again, I hate to say it, I don't pay the most attention to the line.
No.
So I could see that. I don't know what else I would have called out. So
I think the only line we ever pay attention to is the Panthers. Is it the Panthers with Bryce Young? Just because we realized they can't hold anything back.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we pay attention to the Eagles line because of Jason, so now we won't.
No, well, that too.
But,
I don't know who's on their line anymore.
Yeah.
Landon,
yeah, that's all I got. He's got his overalls and his lawnmower now. I mean, I don't know. The Vikings, the uncertainty at quarterback, I would agree. I mean, you have Justin Jefferson. So, like, if you could just get someone who could throw the ball in the realm of him, you're good.
Yeah.
So, those were the red flags. Were there any red flags that you personally have about the NFL teams this season that were not mentioned?
I think just my biggest one that we've talked about it multiple times, is still just Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's my biggest red flag, is everyone thinks he is the savior of this team. And I don't think he's going to do what people are. And honestly, I think the Jets are just hoping for the best. It can't be worse. So maybe that's why they're.
Could be the Panthers.
That's true. We'll see.
I actually would say my biggest red flags are around the Dolphins. And I think it's because last season, when we got to the playoffs, remember, even though I went to the -33 game, we were real convinced and scared that we were going to lose that game. And so I see the same hype, if not more, around the Dolphins this season. And they still have never delivered. And so
they also have a lot of veteran players
that are injury prone.
I was about to say, I don't know how well their depth chart is. So if
Yeah.
you start getting injured towards the beginning of the season, what happens when your games are tougher?
Yeah. Well, speaking of depth charts, the next thing we were going to talk about is remaining free agents. There's probably like a way more all-encompassing list, but we found this one on Jukes on Instagram. And there were a couple of people on it I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of names on here. Justin Simmons, David Bakhtiari, the offensive tackle, who I think has been on every show trying to tell everyone he's sure he's ready to go. Bless him. He's just trying to keep a job.
Right.
Stephon Gilmore, Jamal Adams. But the couple of people that I wanted to talk about, Michael Thomas from the Saints. Now, this is a guy that frustrates me to no end. I feel about Michael Thomas how I feel about my own son. My son has all the potential in the world to be a really phenomenal athlete. And I'm not just saying that. I'm his harshest critic, I can assure you. But he has all the potential in the world. And he's only 8, but he's not living up to it. Michael Thomas is the same way. There is no reason Michael Thomas could not and should not be having the same career, if not better, that Justin Jefferson is having.
Right.
But my guy won't play. Like, not that he can't play, he won't play.
Which
and
again,
now he's a free agent. Who's going to hire him? Like, I think about, like, you're in HR, right? Okay, you get a job, you get a resume from somebody, and they've got some career gaps. So the first thing you're going to ask them in that interview is, can you explain these career gaps, right? And so a lot of times it's, I had a sick parent, this person died, the recession, 2020, all these things, right? What is Michael Thomas going to say? I just didn't feel like playing that season.
Which is wild because you hear so many of these guys that are like, I just want to get on the field. I just want to get a catch. I want to do whatever. Yeah. So when you have some players that just collect a check and it's almost like they're scared to get out there, like, what's happening here? And why is the team keeping you? I'm not now.
Yeah, I don't know. He makes me very angry. The other one I wanted to talk about, there's 2 more I want to talk about. Another wide receiver, though, that I think complete opposite of Michael Thomas is Hunter Renfrow. So Hunter's the little dude that played for Clemson for, all those years they were winning national championships. He's not built like a true wide receiver in the NFL. He's scrawny. But that dude cannot be outworked. And, he went to the Raiders. He had some great production with the Raiders, but it's the Raiders. Yeah. And so he was kind of on the bubble a lot. So now they've cut him or whatever. He's a free agent. I just want somebody, honestly, I wish the Chiefs would take him because he can't cost that much money.
Right. I for sure think he's going to get picked up.
I want him, like, I don't think anybody's going to work harder. And I think he has talent that gets overshadowed simply based on his stature.
I would agree with that.
So come on, Andy, go get him. We don't know what's going to happen with Rasheed. Andy, come on. And then the last one I was going to mention was Ryan Tannehill.
I was going to mention him too.
Is it time? It's tough. It's hard to let go of something.
I don't know how long he's been in the NFL, but like when they're putting Will Levis ahead of you last season,
and doubling down on it. Like,
the thing that told you, let's reevaluate this.
So his rookie season was 2012.
Okay. So it's been a minute.
It's probably time. But there's the argument of the journeyman backup, right? Carson Wentz. He's backing up Patrick now, which I'm good with. So, I think that there's room for that, but I kind of get the vibe, and I could be totally wrong, but I get the vibe that he doesn't think he's a backup, maybe.
Yes.
And so I think that's why there ended up being bad blood in Nashville, because he didn't want to be, which, that's got to be a shock to the ego. But at some point, you got to, accept reality.
Right. Well, But I think there's something to be said so far into your career when you're not producing huge things, but you still know that you have a year or so left in you. Take that backup spot. You're still going to get some play time. And then you're mentoring the next generation that's coming
Yeah.
after you. And I think that's an important role for some of these great quarterbacks to play. Now you're going to have quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady that were never going to be a backup anywhere else because they produce every single year. But I think you do have some of these that are fairly good quarterbacks that aren't going to produce every single year and can't keep up with the new generations, but still have a lot to offer.
I think that Ryan Tannehill, like as a career on the whole, he had obviously a much better career than Kellen Moore. But I do think a little bit about Kellen Moore in that situation. I don't know that he was ever like a true starter anywhere. I mean, maybe, but he was like kind of always a backup. But it set him up really nicely in this offensive coordinator role. I'm not saying Ryan would be a good offensive coordinator or he's even cut out for that. Maybe he had a little too much success for that. But I do think there's some of these guys that, like, I don't know, we got to think about what's next.
Yes. Which saying. Maybe they don't want to retire because they haven't thought, or they think there literally is nothing else for me.
I saw he's been taking a lot of vacations this summer with Nick Foles. And I would kind of put them in that kind of same realm, although I would say Nick Foles has had a more successful career. But I'm hoping that Nick is like, Ryan, it's time, Yeah. We'll see. All right, next up, we've got Frank Schwab's bottom 10 NFL teams. So, like, in order from worst to less worse, I guess I would say. We got Panthers, Patriots, Broncos, Commanders, Giants, Titans, Raiders, Cardinals, Saints, and Chargers. What were your thoughts when you first initially saw this?
I thought it was fairly accurate because my initial thought was these are usually, you and I always disagree with them, but when these popped up, I was like, no, I could see that. The only one that really stuck out to me that I'm interested to watch, I don't know that I would have put them at 30 after last season. I would have put them at 31 as the Patriots. Mm-hmm. I'll be interested to see what they can do this year with a new coach. And then I guess Drake May is their quarterback.
Yeah, I think he's going to start.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see what that looks like for them this year. They needed Mac Jones gone. And I think Bill and Robert Kraft had just run their course in their relationship.
Yeah.
But Robert Kraft is still the owner. So you can only do so much there.
Yeah. I mean, overall, I pretty much agreed with this. I mean, this is definitely the bottom tier. Like what order they go in, I don't know. There's several of these teams that are on here that, I mean, like, let's be real with each other. I'm not saying they're going to be in the top 10 at the end of the season, but there's several teams on here that I think could really make some improvement this year. I'm really interested to see what happens with the Raiders. Obviously, I don't want them to be too successful since they're in the Chiefs division, but I'm interested to see what happens with them. I'm interested to see what happens with the Commanders, which I know sounds weird, but they have really gotten a lot of people in the offseason.
Yes, they've made some moves for sure.
So I'm just curious to see how that all gels, though. And then I see the Chargers slipping even more. I mean, I say it all the time. Justin Herbert's my NFL fantasy football quarterback because he's consistent. I see them slipping even more. I just don't see Harbaugh. I think people are like, oh, Harbaugh had all this NCAA. That don't matter.
I was going to say, that doesn't always translate. Nick Saban proved that.
Yeah. So, I don't know. And with the Cardinals, I mean, I think it's a little weird that they had the Cardinals so high in this bottom tier just because, I mean, we're still talking about Kyler Murray.
Right.
Like,
that's still your guy.
Blessed assurance, I don't see it happening. No. And then with the Saints, I was surprised the Saints were so high on this list. Apologies to my best friend Megan that is her team and my mom's family. But
yeah,
Derek Carr is, first of all, not going to get you there. And Alvin Kamara is not going to stay healthy or out of trouble long enough. I just don't see it. So I would
struggle this year.
Yeah, of this, I'm most anticipating the Commanders getting out of the bottom 10.
Yep.
I have been wrong once before, though. So That was bad. That was bad teams. Now let's talk about the top 5 most overrated NFL players. This came from Backyard Breaks on Instagram. Not to be offended, but they went with Justin Herbert at 1, Stephon Diggs 2, Saquon Barkley 3, Nick Bosa at 4, and Jalen Hurts at 5.
I mean,
most overrated.
I do agree with it. I don't know that Jalen Hurts would be number 5. I do think he's a little bit overrated as what we've seen. I don't know that I would put him in a top 5 though, but I do agree with the first 4.
Yeah, I think for me, Stephon Diggs is top of the list. I mean, he just is.
He would have been my number 1.
Yeah, Saquon, I just don't know yet. I mean, it's hard to gauge some of these guys based on the teams they were with and the coaching staffs they were with. Now, if Saquon has a mediocre season this year, I'm agreeing.
Right.
Okay? Because, again, the Eagles have got everyone now. So, like, if they can't win, you're all overrated.
Right.
So
I was interested to see Nick Bosa on here. Obviously, we are not Nick Bosa fans. Is he overrated though? Because I feel like he still puts up the numbers.
Yeah, that was the one that I drew issue with. And again, it's hard for me to draw issue because I do not like the man. But yeah, I don't in any world think that you could call him overrated.
I don't either.
I don't see that at all. Was there anyone that you thought, I can't believe they didn't put X on here?
I mean, obviously, just my dislike for Aaron Rodgers. I feel like you should have been listed on here.
I had another one that I'm glad Judd's not here. He'd be real mad that I'm saying this. I'm going to say that I think Tyreek Hill might be.
I could actually see that.
And I don't know if I've got bad blood because of like him wanting more money. So he barely got more and went to the Dolphins from the Chiefs. I don't know if I'm saying that because we didn't hurt any from that. So I'm kind of okay. Yeah. But
he got injured a lot last year. And even though he played through a lot of those injuries, he was not the Tyreek that he normally is.
No.
And then this offseason, he's had a lot of personal stuff going on. So I think that also puts an asterisk next to him of like, what are you going to be able to do this year? Are you going to be able to play if some of those personal issues take you out this year?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. They also put up a top 5 most underrated NFL players. And we recently had this same conversation on here about our underrated picks based on an audience question. They had Tua at 1, Terry McLaurin at 2, Michael Pittman Jr. at 3, Christian Kirk at 4, Baker Mayfield at 5. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I didn't agree with anything on this list.
Okay.
Well, let me back up and say, I don't think Tua is underrated. I honestly think he's overrated because again, he hasn't delivered because he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, I don't know if I just have beef with Baker. I don't know what the deal is with my Baker
beef with him.
I think I must. I'm probably going to need to look into that in therapy, but no, for the audio, Retha, if you're listening, we need to cover that. I don't know what it is, but I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's overrated. He's nothing to me.
Yeah, I don't think he would have been top 5 for underrated, but he is one of those that he's kind of out there floating. I'm not sure where I land on him yet.
And then 2, 3, and 4, Michael Pittman, Christian Kirk, and Terry McLaurin, to me, again, irrelevant. Like, they don't – what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that I truly believe in the NFL. And it's funny because I just moments ago said I don't know a lot about offensive lines. But I think the most underrated players in the NFL are on the offensive lines.
That is because they're so vital to a team being able to win. And those are the players we don't typically know. Those are the players that don't typically get the spotlight. I couldn't name you more than maybe 2 or 3 offensive line of all time, not just active.
I mean, I freaking love everything about the Chiefs. Okay, I can think of Creed at center, Joe Thuney.
Landon.
No, that's the Eagles. I'm talking about the Chiefs.
Oh.
And then I think Trey Smith. I think he's on offense, which that's shocking that I came up with 3.
As I say, you've done really well.
But again, Yeah. I think centers, and I think part of it is really being engrossed in the Kelce world and like,
Yeah.
especially like listening to Jason over the past wee bit of New Heights, like listening to him break down games and film and plays. I think that is the most underrated position in the NFL is the center.
Yeah.
I mean, like everything makes or breaks on an offense with him.
I agree
So
with that.
these other jackwagons, I don't know why we had them on here, but all right. So we had that. That's all I had on the NFL, but because we do support women's sports, let's talk about the WNBA.
Let's talk.
There has been a lot of, in the notes, I put that the Fever played the Mercury, which we were anticipating based on Taurasi's arrogant comments about Caitlin Carter several months back now. God, it's been forever. But so they played. Caitlin had a hell of a game.
Yes,
and they came from 15 behind and beat the Mercury.
You love to see it.
Did you notice that Taurasi changed her tune?
She really did. I did notice that.
Shocking. She then now says that it's remarkable. Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm glad that she's changing her tune.
Right.
We all said when she first came out, it wasn't a good look. I do wonder if it's because she has seen all the backlash that Angel Reese has gotten for being such a jackwagon in the media, that maybe Taurasi's like, you know what? I'm in my last year or two. I should probably go out on a better note. So I am glad. It looks like they were very cordial to each other on the court. So I'm glad that she's starting to change her tune on that. I still do not like her.
No, still not a Taurasi fan. I mean, I can respect the career she's had and not like the person.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Also, as of yesterday, last night, the WNBA All-Star rosters were announced. Caitlin made it. Shocker. She was the second highest vote getter. I don't know if getter is a word. Other big names that I saw, obviously Angel made it. And honestly, I would go ahead and argue, we've kind of talked a little bit about this. I would argue that Angel's having a better rookie season than Caitlin.
It's improving for sure. I don't think she started out as hot as Caitlin did, because Caitlin has been very consistent through her career.
Yeah.
But Angel has definitely started to kind of take over, and I think she's just settling in.
I think that's one thing to argue, or not argue, but say about, you look at stats, and people are really hyped on Angel stats right now, as they should be. They're very important. But I also think, and maybe this is just my background being a basketball player, and I just have this whole theory about how you can learn so much in life about leadership by playing sports and all this. But I think, like, when I picture Caitlin and Angel, if you plucked Angel out of her lineup in the game, I think the sky still continues on status quo.
Right.
But I think that if you pluck Caitlin out of the Fever, I think there is a significant drop in just the management of the game and everyone else. And I think that gets overshadowed a lot. Like, even on these over and underrated players and MVPs and all that, I think you have to think of it as a whole. And that's why I'm saying, like, I think that these offensive linemen in the NFL should be more considered for these awards and these recognitions, because if you take them out of the game, if you take Creed out of the game, Patrick's not having the game he's having.
Right.
But if you take out, I don't know, Justin Watson from the Chiefs, like, Patrick's still going to have Patrick's game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, again, though, she's having a great season. It does feel like maybe she's calming down with all the drama a little bit. I just think the Sky, like, they were kind of owning that, like, thugs of the WNBA. And
that's not the move.
Yeah, I just think it kind of, So July 20th, the WNBA All-Stars are going to play the U.S. Women's National Team, which I am very interested to watch. Because, I mean, there was all this hoopla that Caitlin didn't make the Olympic team. And then, of course, Taurasi did. She's 208 years old. So, like, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. I think it's going to be chippy as hell. I think they're going to be going at each other. It will be interesting to see Caitlin and Angel play together and see if that dynamic can coexist. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think the U.S. women's national team is going to stomp the NBA All-Stars, WNBA All-Stars.
Okay.
It could be
back and
controversial. We'll need to make a note to come back to that. But I don't know. I go back again to leadership, and I see too many personalities on the All-Star team.
Who's coaching All-Stars?
I don't know. I didn't look at that. But I will say, too, I think the Olympic team, because they are a little older, they have all played together before. Not all, but a large majority has played on the Olympic team together before or on all-star teams together.
Right.
Whereas, like, for instance, this will be the first time Caitlin and Angel have played together. So I do think there's a little disadvantage. But I don't know. And it's got my girl Kelce Plum, so I got to go with it.
I know. I'm excited.
But that'll be a good one. Super excited to see that. Any other sports news on your end?
I mean, we had a couple NFL players get married this past weekend.
We did.
So we had
McCaffrey,
Blair.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, they got married. So funny story with Christian McCaffrey's wedding. Obviously, it was media galore. He married Olivia Culpo, who is a model, right? Like that's her job.
Miss Universe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, as you are. But I got so sidetracked and confused at first when I kept seeing all of the Panthers showing up at the wedding. Totally forgot the time period that Christian was with Carolina. Like, just like him, I'm sure that never happened. Like,
yeah.
But Olsen showed up and like Luke Kuechly. I was like, what do we do? Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You guys just show up or were you invited?
Yeah. Like, you just saw the NFL wedding. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
I love that Trav made it back for Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's wedding. I mean, obviously, this show could be dubbed like a love affair with Travis and Jason Kelce, but I do love how Travis, he really like supports and promotes those guys that are not the superstars. Yeah. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire, he always brags on him on the show, but also like McCole Hardman. I'm going to tell you right now, and I love McCole. Last season, I hated him a lot. There was a lot of times he dropped that ball, and I was like, for real now, to win the Super Bowl, so I appreciated that one. But I'm going to tell you that I think the Chiefs re-signed McCole, was that last week or the week before, because of Travis. I swear to you, I think Travis lobbied for that.
I could see that. I think Travis is good to see the potential in some of these guys and to bring their confidence back to them. And that just makes all the difference.
Yeah.
The team that you are on makes all the difference. You can be a great player, you can be a crappy player, but when you're put on the right team, I think that's when your personality and that's when your skills start to shine.
Yeah. So congratulations to all those who are now betrothed and wedded. We're ready for the next NFL wedding whenever you're ready, Travis. Anyway, let's talk about some entertainment news.
Okay. We got a lot of stuff to cover today still.
We do. I just noticed that. This is going to be kind of a quick one. Shout out to Sean, whoever you might be. Thank you for listening. You did send in a message asking if we were going to talk about the BET Awards. And I don't know that the BET Awards are our lane. I love hip hop and rap, and I love, all that happens. I don't know that we're the experts, but there was one item that we did want to discuss. Will Smith made a comeback. This is
made an appearance.
Well, yeah, that was a heavy word for the situation. I think if I'm not wrong, this is the first time he's been on the stage post Chris Rock slap. Is that right?
I feel like he's been on the stage for something since then, but not like performing.
But I will say, music-wise, it's been a minute since we've, getting jiggy with it. So Will Smith made an appearance in a performance at the BET Awards. He was joined by the Sunday Service Choir, which I didn't really realize was like the name of the group that used to sing with Kanye, but okay, it's a good name. And then Chandler Moore from Maverick City fame. And we had a bit of a gospel segment with Will.
We did. Which first impression? Did you watch it?
Oh, yeah, but I'm ready to hear your opinion. Now, I didn't watch it live. I mean, I didn't catch the BET Awards. Didn't even know they were happening until I got Sean's message.
So when I watched it, my first thought was, who approved wearing that suit on what appeared to be scorched earth with flames? Because listen, if it were me, I'd have passed out sweating already. That's too hot. That's too much. I feel like we're having the same vibes with maybe some digital fire. Like, I don't know. But also, it just gave too much of a Kanye vibe for what was going on. And I just thought maybe we're leaning too far into this, trying to make our image and PR right. This maybe wasn't the lane for it. The Sunday Choir and Chandler Moore sounded
fantastic. Listen,
we'll probably let's have that retirement conversation.
Yeah, I could listen to Chandler all the time. So I kind of had similar thoughts. Like, obviously, post slap, and honestly, post a lot of Jada's baggage, if we want to call it that. We needed some PR work for Will. Now, I don't really feel that we need the PR work for his music career, perhaps to keep some longevity with his acting career. I did wonder, are we making this appearance and kind of leaning into the music vibe because we're struggling to get some acting gigs? I did wonder.
You can just do another Bad Boys.
Yeah. Or, I mean, Independence Day. I mean, the world is burning down as we speak anyway, so.
But so anyway, just overall, it was a weird PR move for him.
Yeah.
But I guess get work where you can get work, my guy.
Listen, I mean, keep your name out there. You never know. I've always heard when you apply for a job, you should send a lot of thank yous so they keep your name out there. So I don't know. I think that's what he did.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to have a little Taylor talk, of course, because this is Whyspace, and that's what we do. We had 3 nights in Dublin. We had some stuff every night. I was worried there was going to be a bit of a letdown post Travis appearing on stage in London. But I mean, sure, it was a different vibe, but I thought it was a great way to continue. First night surprise songs, State of Grace, and You're on Your Own, Kid, because You're on Your Own, Kid. Just can't get enough of it, apparently. And then she did Sweet Nothing and Hoax. Not much else to report from Dublin night 1. Sure, there are a lot of commentary around her doing Sweet Nothing and Hoax. I was actually a little surprised she did not do Sweet Nothing in London when Paul McCartney was there, because I am of the camp that believes that song is about Paul McCartney and his wife and not people. Anyway, night 2, she did the Albatross and Dancing with Our Hands Tied, which I do love. And I will say, Albatross has not really ever been big on my list, but hearing it live, those vocals were amazing. And then shout out to our boy Travis. She did This Love and Ours, and it was perfect. Graham Norton was there, and I love the clips of when Taylor used to go on Graham Norton's show. He has such a funny show when they're all on the couch together. So
it's a fun vibe.
It just made me really want her to do some media.
I would love her to do some media.
And then night 3, however. All right. So Stevie Nicks was there, and she performed Clara Bow, which obviously the second verse says you look like Stevie Nicks. And then she sang The Lucky One, which also is tied to Stevie. And then she on the piano played You're on Your Own, Kid again, because you, again, just can't get enough. But Stevie Nicks has always said that she's so thankful for that song. It helped her process the grief from when Christine McVie died from their group. And so Taylor did a sweet little speech about Stevie Nicks. And she said in the speech that Stevie's the kind of person that she can tell all her secrets to and know that Stevie's not going to tell anyone. Can 13-year-old Taylor imagine a grown adult Taylor sharing her secrets with Stevie Nicks?
Right? Listen, 13-year-old Taylor probably thought all her secrets were just going to be shared with a diary. Like, Stevie was probably not even in her wildest dreams.
Jeez. Okay. So, I mean, that's a vibe. Julia Roberts was there in the tent. Julia's a big Taylor fan. She was on stage in 1989 tour. She's been to several Eras tours. And then Trav made a surprise appearance. We don't know if he really truly surprised Taylor. It sounds like maybe that's what happened. I don't know. It was a vibe between Julia and Trav in the tent.
Here's my take.
Okay.
I think
I can't wait because I still am creeped out, but okay.
it was a very creepy interaction.
Uh-huh.
Not on Travis's end.
Oh, he looked startled.
But I just wonder, is Travis one of those people that when you actually get in the room with him, you just, all common sense and anything that you know leaves your body and you're like, what do? I scratch you like a cat. That's what I do.
Well, I could see that if it were you or me, right? I could see myself. Now, I can't see me scratching him because I'm just not a big physical touch person. But
It's so weird.
She was all up on the chest, and he's got a lot of chest hair. It weirded me out. But I could see us doing that. But we're talking about Julia Roberts. Like, she doesn't have enough poof.
Make it starstruck because Travis is a completely different realm of stars than what she's used to.
I guess. And she's a Chiefs fan, which I did not know.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, she's apparently there's several interviews you can go out and see where she talks all about how she feels like this kinship with Patrick Mahomes and she loves the Chiefs. I was like, of course she does.
Yeah, it was fun that she was there. It's fun Travis showed up, but it was just an awkward interaction that I am so thankful was caught on camera.
Yeah, because I don't think you couldn't have explained that or believed it without seeing it.
No.
But yeah, Trav made an appearance. I guess she was in the Folklore Evermore. She was singing August when he and Ross came in. She definitely looked very stunned that he was there. I think here's the things, people. If you believe that he flew from LA to Dublin and she didn't know, y'all are dumb.
Right.
I just think she probably thought when is this flight going to land? Is he going to go to the hotel? Or is he going to meet me at the bar?
As I said, she probably thought they would just meet at dinner.
Yeah, because they did go out that night with Stevie Nicks and Paramore. Because, Travis, again, what a life, my man. You are, first of all, dating the most famous person in the world right now. And you're just hanging out in a pub in Dublin with her and Stevie Nicks and Paramore. Right. Did Cleveland Heights Travis think this was going to happen? It's amazing.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to bring up about Taylor was this week. There was a Newsweek article. Listen, this article by Buffoon went on and on drothing about how she should not be considered a role model because she is 34, unmarried, and childless. And I'm not just summarizing. That was literally an introduction paragraph. What was your feeling after this?
I just am floored that in 2024, we still, and I'm not one of those feminism and staunch all this stuff.
Not at all.
But why in 2024 are we still saying that women aren't valuable if they're not married and they didn't produce a child? It makes no sense to me. How can you put aside all of her success as a writer, as a musician, as a business person? How can you take that and be like, yeah, but she's still not a role model or successful because she didn't get pregnant and birth a child?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Well, and it goes back to things we've said before about some of these, the Dumois of the world.
Yeah.
First of all, you don't know Taylor. You don't know her medical history. I don't know her medical history. Who's to say she can have children?
Right.
Maybe she can't. And what are you saying to all those women who can't, that we know in our real lives who can't? What are you saying to them?
Well, and he also went on to talk about how many people she's dated. And again, I go back to, I don't think she's dated that many people. She's 34. She hasn't dated that many people. If you take the average Joe off the street and ask them, how many dates have you been on? How many people have you dated? Their number is probably going to be higher. So I still don't understand why that's an argument. And I do wonder if people like this guy that wrote this opinion piece, are you doing it because you know this is going to give you traction and nothing else in your career has brought you any attention? Mm-hmm. Is that what the purpose is?
Ding, ding. Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Well,
low-hanging fruit to try and pull that because anything with Taylor Swift's name on it is going to get you attention.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
And part of me, when I first saw it, part of me was like, God, I wish the whole world would just ignore this because that's clearly what he wanted. But then it's like, no, like you should be shamed for what you did. And also because like I think about, and again, I am not a feminist at all. Like I don't even have like even the slightest leaning toward that. Now I'm not like a damsel in distress, but I don't get with that vibe. I think that goes to our upbringing too. But
Yeah.
I think about roles reversed. I mean, Travis is 34. He's unmarried, no children. Does he not deserve to be a role model? Or vice versa, you get a man, I don't know, Tyreek Hill. He's got like 418 children, or Nick Cannon.
Okay.
Do they deserve to be a role model because they have they haven't done anything, first of all, except shoot up club. But like they get to be a role model, but she can't.
This is at this day and age, we're just past that double standard. That's just not a thing.
Like you're archaic and stupid if that's where you're at. Like I can help you with a better commentary. Like
I just was frustrated and disappointed when I saw that. Sadly, that's still the world we live in. People are still going to make those statements, but come on, that's an embarrassment for journalism.
Yeah. If y'all do need better journalists, your girl is here. I'm just saying. Although I would honestly never write for a publication that thought that was worth printing. And all right, we are how many days, Becca, until the Olympics?
Listen, opening ceremony is in 23 days.
23? It is a great time to be an American.
I can't wait.
Well, we need the Olympics.
So good this year.
It's going to be good. And we as Americans truly need the Olympics right now because we got a lot of reasons to not love being American right now.
One thing as an American that unites everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're all going to collectively root for Team USA.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, let's start with the gymnast. We had the trials this weekend. We now have our men's team and our women's team. The women's team, I would say, was filled with injuries amok. Like it was.
We had a lot.
I was like, are we going to have anybody left? Am I going to have to learn to do a somersault? Like, that was.
I can't come on the bars, guys. So no.
The way they do the strength these people have is in.
Thank goodness we had such depth in our women's gymnastics team that we still have a really solid group and truly solid alternatives. Yeah. But it was so sad to see some of those women go down.
So sad about Skylar. I love her.
I know.
But I think we're going to come back with a vengeance. I think having the leadership of Simone and Jordan and Suni, I think all those, I think it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
And honestly, they want it so much more this year because last year they didn't get gold. They still got silver. They still did fantastic. But Simone, I think to herself wants to prove. Yeah. Listen, she didn't have a thing to prove to any of us. We know how incredible you are. Yep. But I think to herself, she wants to go out there and prove. And honestly, for a lot of them, this is probably their last Olympics. Simone's 27.
I thought it was funny that Simone said she was apologizing to Allie for having called her a grandma at 22.
Right?
I was like, gotta watch what you say.
Simone Biles, Suni Lee, Jade Carey, who she went last year also. Jordan Childs, I don't remember if I said that. Hesley Rivera. I'm so excited for her. She is just turned 16.
And how excited they all got for her when they called her name.
Yes. I don't think I'm more excited to watch her in the Olympics as I am to watch her dad and mom up in the stands. Her dad's a hoot. I love him. He's fantastic. So it'll just be really good. Alternatives are Leanne Wong and Jocelyn Robertson.
Shout out to the University of Arkansas, Jocelyn.
Yeah. So good. So exciting to watch them. So I think we're gonna have some good contenders this year.
I couldn't be more excited. Arkansas. I mean, I do have to shout out the fact that the alternate is from Arkansas, but also Arkansas is really becoming a hotbed for gymnasts. Jordan Weber from back in the day is the head coach of the gymnast team there, and so we're getting a lot of those big recruits. So I do not think this will be the last U.S. gymnast from the University of Arkansas, which I love because we ain't got any football to brag about. So by all means, let's talk about the floor routines. I do love, speaking of floor routines, that Simone had her ready for it moment with Taylor, and Taylor commented. Also, did you see the tweet where somebody criticized her floor music and Simone was like, "Who are you? What do you care?" I was like,
"That's awesome."
I know that I talked briefly about it because the tweet came in last week while we were recording. I have to air my grievances. This is my second grievance of the show. With the U.S. soccer program, men's and women's. I'm going to start with the women's. I'm never, ever going to get over that Alex Morgan did not go to this Olympics. I'm going to tell you this probably would have been her last one, and I just will never get over it. I will always cheer for Team USA, but I'm going to laugh in their faces when they lose. I'm so mad. I think this is just stupid and asinine and poor leadership. This is what you get. Speaking of poor leadership, the U.S. men's national team has become an embarrassment. Now,
okay, so I saw Carly Lloyd on TikTok.
Which I don't like Carly, but yeah.
And all the comments were like, it's bad if we're agreeing with Carly Lloyd. And I was like, I
was going to say,
on this.
I do not like Carly Lloyd, and I am on the same. Okay, so the Copa Americana was this past week, or started this past week, the early stages. It was actually here in Kansas City. The U.S. team played Uruguay at Arrowhead. We were going to go, but it was 285 degrees outside, so
we can't do that.
I'm real glad I didn't go because I'd have been real pissed. So the U.S. team lost. It actually started in the stage just before this. In the previous game, there was apparently a lot of racial issues that took place.
Oh, wow.
Several of our men's players on their social media, people were going on and commenting emojis of like bananas and monkeys to some of our African-American players. It was a whole vibe that was just nasty.
Oh, wow.
It's just people are so ignorant. Anyway, but also in that game, that was really chippy. And so Tim Ware couldn't play in this game because he got a red card. So we were not off on a great start already. Pulisic, though, Christian Pulisic played. He had constant issues with the officials. I don't know if you've seen any of this coverage.
No.
There was a weird vibe between the head official and the U.S. men's team. He was apparently from Peru. I don't know if that played into this. I don't know if there's a backstory to this, but he made a lot of really blatantly wrong calls. And when they would do the VAR, the video after recording and show, there was a very massive call of offsides that honestly cost the U.S. the game. When you go back and look at it, there's no way in any universe it was offsides. Like, people from all over the world have said this was the wrong call. It's not just because I'm an American. Yeah. But it was this one dude. And so then after the game, Pulisic is pissed, which he should be. But he still went and he shook the hands of the officials. Well, he reached out his hand to shake this head official's hand. The dude wouldn't shake his hand. He held his hands behind his back and just shook his head no at Pulisic. And so Pulisic got pissed and was like, you should just go stand over there with Uruguay. The whole thing was bad. But this goes to leadership. The U.S. men's team needs a new soccer coach. And honestly, I unfortunately now believe that about the women's team based on her ignorance of not picking Alex. But Greg Berhalter, the head coach of the men's team, they got to go a different direction. I get that we're not a South American country that's usually a powerhouse in soccer, but
still, we can
we didn't even make it to the qualifying stages. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's not great.
So I'm real worried about all of that. But anyway, commentators. We've got some new commentators for the Olympics this year.
Some great commentators this year.
So we have most excited for.
Oof. I'm probably gonna go. I like that they have previous Olympians that are doing a lot of the commentating. So we have Allison Felix, Carrie Walsh Jennings, Missy Franklin, Michael Phelps does some for swimming. Sean Johnson East is going to be doing some for the gymnastics. So those are the ones that I'm always excited to watch because I think that they just bring a different element in when they're talking about a routine or how something went, or what's in the athlete's head right now? What are they thinking? What are they deciding? What are they having to strategize? So that's always interesting to me to see what the thought process is behind what they're doing. I do think it'll be fun for opening ceremony. We have Peyton Manning, Kelly Clarkson, and Mike Tirico.
Tirico. Even I know that one. Come on.
He did all of the Olympic trials. He did Olympics last year as well. He's fantastic. So I think that's going to be really fun to watch.
Yeah.
For opening ceremony. And Snoop Dogg is also going to be commentating.
I mean, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I also really liked, they've announced, I think it's like over 150 commentators, which, I mean, y'all, there's a lot of events. But I love that they are, and maybe they've done this before. So if they have, I apologize that I just missed it, but they've done better about publicizing it this time if they have done it before. I love that they are including some Para-Olympians.
Yes.
In the commentating. So again, that may have happened before, but I just noticed it and I think it's fantastic. So
yeah, agreed.
Let's see. There are some new events. I know there's one you're super excited about. Breakdancing.
Yeah, real good. We have breaking, which it's breakdancing. I don't know why they call it breaking. Maybe that's just the sport term for it.
Yeah.
I did find it interesting when I was reading about it. It will be at the Olympics this year.
Mm-hmm.
They've already decided it's not returning for the 2028 LA Olympics.
We haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah. But then I was like going in and I was like, okay, so like, what is this going to look like? It's 9 panel judges. They have like their criteria that they judge on. And it is all improvised. They're going to, the people dancing, B breakers, I think is what they're called. B girls, B boys. They are not going to have the music ahead of time, and they have to improvise on the spot. Like they'll call your name, you go out to the center, they turn the music on, and you just have to improvise. That leaves a lot of room for like just moving back and forth.
Well, again, I think that might be if it were you or me. Yeah.
I don't know. We watched some of their trials, and it wasn't great. It was very awkward looking. So I'm interested. I'll watch it. I'll give it a try, but I don't know that I'm going to keep watching it.
Well, I am disappointed it's already been rolled out. I thought this might be my ticket.
I know.
There's
still trampoline in the Olympics. We still have a shot. I can jump.
That's an ACL right there waiting to happen. I'm actually excited. And I used to feel weird about this, but I'm actually excited that skateboarding is now a part of it. I used to feel weird, like that's for the X Games, but there's really a lot of like athleticism that goes into that.
It really is. And very prone to injury. You make one wrong move.
You down. Yeah. So yeah, we're super excited, and we are going to have, leading up to the Olympics, and I assume we'll probably do it during the Olympics too. We're going to have an Olympics segment. So welcome to your first edition. All right. Are we ready for our audience questions, Becca?
Let's do it. Some of these were hard for me to.
We had some great ones this week.
We did.
We do have one name I'm scared about already. I've already started sweating. But okay, from Diana. Who are your bucket list podcast guests and interviews? Which I appreciate that you think that anyone would come on this show. Number one.
Dreaming big here.
But that is the goal, that eventually once we get, some more following and some more things under our belt, we've been talking to a couple of people. We are going to start having some guests. We're just trying to get there, building up the confidence. So, Becca, who do you have on your bucket list?
So I have a few. Okay. I'll just go down my list. Tree paint, obviously.
Let's just start. Okay, at the Pope. All right. Listen, good one.
I just know all the things about tree paint. So I have Scott and Andrea Swift and Donna and Ed Kelce. Just from a parenting perspective, there's so many questions I have to ask them.
Now, were they all going to be on the same episode?
No.
Oh, too much? Too much.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Just checking.
Yeah.
You need to know how to schedule.
We'll decide. We'll just talk to them and see what they would prefer.
Okay.
My children are making lunch. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Then I've got Andy Reid and Nick Saban.
On the same, again, is this 2 separate episodes?
No, I'm just grouping them together because they're coaches. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how to schedule any of these interviews. Okay.
Also, I just want, but I want Mike McCarthy once he's done with his Cowboys contract, when you can talk a little bit more freely.
Okay.
And then Andrews and Carissa Thompson.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. I like those. Those are good. Some heavy hitters. I'm glad you.
Who are you going to invite
on? Well, I'm startled by your list. And my mind just started instantly. I started sweating more. Just a lot was happening. But I mean, I'm in. So I got a couple of the same. I have Aaron and Carissa too. I think they would be a fantastic interview. I love what they do. I think it's a little bit of our vibe too. I mean, they're much better at what they do than we are. But I'm just saying it's kind of, we share a vibe and a kind of a lane. And we obviously have a lot of the same interests. So
I think you just put us in a lane with Aaron Andrews and Carissa.
too much?
I need a minute for that. I'm
Too
okay
much.
with being in that lane.
Okay, just checking. I'm sweating everywhere. That they were on my list. I love that you have the Swifts and the Kelces, though I'm still there. I had Kelce. Now listen, guys, here's the thing. Y'all know us. Taylor is the it person for us. If we could ever get an interview with her, like, I hope that y'all know that that's just unsaid. Like, yes.
I don't think I'm cool enough to be around Kylie.
I don't think we're cool enough by any means.
I think it would be more nervous than I would be to meet Taylor or Travis.
Oh, I would be far more nervous to meet Kylie, 125%. Yeah. But I want to. So.
Right. I'm here for it.
I have so many things I would ask Kylie. Anyway, yeah. So I had Kylie. I had Andrea Swift. I didn't have Scott, although would love it. I had Andrea. I think because of like the parenting lane we're in too, but also I think because this is Whyspace and the why behind things, I think no one understands a person better. I shouldn't generalize that. Most times, nobody understands a person better than their mother. And so I just really think that the whys we could get in that conversation would be big. Yeah. And then I had Peyton Manning.
Oh, okay.
I think he would just be a fun hang, first of all. But also I think just, you know, his career, like what they're doing with their show now, just investments, the family, all of that I think would be big. And then my last one, I'm kind of surprised you didn't say this one, I'll be honest, is Kelly Clarkson.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even think about it. But listen, I've got my list. You've got yours. We'll be on it together.
A couple episodes taken care of right there. So we're good. All right. From Trevor, you mentioned several podcasts that you like in the Y Factor. Which podcast would you like to guest appear on? Again, I appreciate that you think someone would want us on there. So Godspeed, my friend Trevor. I don't know who you are, but that's awesome.
We're here for it.
What shows do you want us to go on?
So I listed out a few. Now, I don't listen to a ton of podcasts just because I have the same thing with podcasts as I do TV shows. I need to listen to every episode. And so if I feel too overwhelmed where I'm going to have to like pick and choose, I can't do it. So I would love to go on. There's a podcast called The Big Boo Podcast.
Same. Got it.
I want to talk all things SEC football with them. They've got, you know, Melanie and Sophie, and they're big Mississippi State and Texas A&M fans. But there's just not that many, first off, women that talk about sports as intently as they do. But also, I love being in a room with people that talk about just the greatness of athletes. And they aren't just like, well, they're crap because they play for this team. And so I think that would be so fun. And they're Southern. You know, we have a heart for Southern people.
Yep.
And then also the Calm Down with Aaron and Chris.
Is our list going to exactly match? I'm just waiting to see. Yep.
Yeah. So those are the ones that I hit on.
I put those, and then I put an asterisk. Of course, we want to go on New Heights. Like, again, unsaid. Doesn't have to be mentioned. But those were the two I had as well. And then let's see, from Gretchen. This one was really hard for me. We know you all love Taylor. I'm a Swiftie for life as well. But what is your least favorite Taylor Swift song? Or you said TS song.
Yeah. My knee-jerk reaction on this was Florida because I had such a dislike. But then I was like,
no.
But I couldn't put it on the list because I was like, but every time it comes on, it's such a bop. Like, you still sing along to it. So I was like, I can't do that. So I had two, and they're just two that stuck out to me because, again, I just joined the realm of really getting into Taylor Swift albums recently. Peter on TTPD, it was a weird vibe to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't get, so I added that one. And then Suburban Legends, I think that one's on the 1989. For some reason, that song has always, every time I hear it, I'm like, it's just weird. I don't like it. I will always skip it when it comes on. So those are the two I could come up with. There's not a lot of Taylor Swift things that I could be like, yeah, that's crap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think the low-hanging fruit and I don't know if this is what you were referencing, Gretchen. Again, I don't know you. Thanks for listening. Yes, I do not enjoy the song Antihero. I don't know if that's what we were hinting at, because I'm just mentioning that because Gretchen has provided a comment before that criticized me not liking Antihero.
Thank you, Gretchen.
That is not my least favorite song, though, okay? It's not even in my bottom, 50.
Shouldn't be in the bottom of anything, Mandy.
People, back off of me. I went with It's Nice to Have a Friend.
Okay.
And I know that that's probably weird because in the sentiment is true. It is nice to have a friend. It's just, it didn't fit well. And it's not one, listen, it's just not one I'm going to listen to on repeat. But again, I don't have a true skip on Taylor's albums. I will literally listen to every single song. I will. I listen to Antihero more than you guys apparently think. So back off.
Good. You should.
Okay. My apologies in advance here if I do something wrong on this name.
I can't wait to hear how you say this.
Okay. This is from Suzanne.
Okay.
Could be Susan. I don't know. Bless you for listening. And I'm not going to go with pronouns either because I don't know that either. This person asked, if you had to pick your second favorite musician to be a, quote, stand for, besides Taylor, thank you for understanding the rules, who would it be and why? Great question. I struggled with this.
I figured you would. I figured this. And I know who I pick. You're going to be like,
I'm interested to see if I'm guessing who you're going to pick.
Okay. So I put Dan and Shay. I know that's not
this. I never think of this. God, this has happened twice now.
It has. When I get in the car, if it's not Taylor Swift, it's country music. That is all I listen
to. Okay, I was thinking that, but this Dan and Shay thing has really become an issue.
So much. Yeah. So I'm going to go Dan and Shay. Their Bigger Houses album that they just released, I think last year, by far the best. Not a bad song on it.
I'm going to have to get into it, I guess. I don't know.
Who are you going with?
True story. I thought they broke up, that they weren't together anymore.
No, you're thinking Florida Georgia Line.
Oh, I didn't know they weren't together anymore.
They're not friends.
Okay, it is nice to have a friend. I guess they don't like the song either. I thought you were going to go Kelly Clarkson.
Listen, she would be in my top 2 or 3. Yeah.
I am curious. Who do you think I'm going to pick?
I think you're going to go Gracie Abrams.
God, how do you know me so well? And I miss the Dan and Shay every time. Every time. Yes, I'm going to go Gracie. And I am so happy for all of the record charting she has done in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Glad that you all around the world are catching on.
Yes.
Well, she is literally Taylor Swift minus the performing. Like, I'm telling you, from a writing perspective, piano, guitar, all these things, she is Taylor Swift. If you like Taylor Swift, you are missing out on Gracie Abrams.
Yeah.
Now, if you need all the dancing around in sequence, that is not Gracie.
That's not gonna be her. Yeah.
I freaking love Gracie Abrams. All right, I'm assuming this is Van, not Vaughn. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give TTPD? Which is a great question to come back to. I don't remember if we scored it when we first reviewed it, but I would say my impressions have changed wildly since then.
Yes.
So what do you give it?
So I think the first time that I listened, I for sure would have scored it really low. I gave it a 7, which is still kind of low, I think. However, the reason that I did that is because TTPD is one of those albums that you have to keep listening to, and it grew on me. So it didn't grab me at first. I just am more of that pop, happy-go-lucky vibe when I'm listening to music. And so that's kind of why I went with the 7. Lyric-wise, I would give it a 10 easily. Yeah. You're just going for songwriting. Just because of the English major in me, it's impressive what she can do with words and storytelling. So
just as a point of reference, what would you on a 1 to 10 give Midnights?
I probably would have gone an 8 or a 9 on that one.
Okay, because it has a little more pop to it, but it's not all the way pop like 1989. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I went 8 on TTPD.
I figured you'd go a little bit higher than me.
Well, But I almost went 7, and here's why. I love TTBD. With every day, something new grows on me. I'm really in my down bad phase right now, and it may be because I've got some anger issues I'm working through, and so I get to say the F word a lot. But I don't know. I'm like really into that song right now. I don't know why. My issue with TTPD is the anthology.
Okay.
I will say in the second part of the album, which I guess we refer to that as the anthology. I don't really know what's happening there. There's only like maybe 3 songs that I've kind of gotten into on it.
Right.
Again, I think if I listen more, they'll grow on me. And as she does them as surprise songs, things grow on me, like Albatross. Honestly, when I made my show notes, I had Albatross as my least favorite Taylor song.
Okay.
And then she did it as a surprise song, and those vocals.
Yeah.
So I did 8, but I was thinking 7. I need to listen to the second half. I'm just so in love with the first half. I can't get to it. I'm not in the car.
I don't have time.
Right. It's a long album. Thank you for the questions this week. They were fantastic. Very
cool for taking time to send those. That's so much fun for us to.
I love it. I've already some for next week. Which is really funny, and I'm not going to tell you which one. I just want you to. Next week, I'm going to say, Becca, which question did you think I was funny?
Got it.
All right. Quick question game for us. Would you rather?
Okay.
Would you rather commentate the Olympics or the Super Bowl? And if you pick the Olympics, which sport?
Okay, so I'm going to go Super Bowl only because
that surprises me.
It does, but I feel like I understand that one sport enough to commentate on. Whereas I feel like if you put me in the Olympics, especially like think gymnastics, while people are vaulting, you've got other people on the parallel bars, you got people doing floors. I just think I would probably develop some ADD and not be able to focus. Yeah. So I went Super Bowl. What were you going?
I went Super Bowl just because it's our love. I thought for sure you were going to pick Olympics, and I never crossed my mind that you wouldn't because you didn't think you were cut out for it because you knew more about football. I just had all the confidence in the world that we could just do it.
Thank you so much.
If I did pick the Olympics, I was definitely going gymnastics, and I couldn't tell you a thing. I couldn't tell you what those things are called that they're doing.
I picked the Olympics, I was going beach volleyball.
Okay. I do love Carrie Walsh. Love her.
Right?
Okay.
So fun.
Would you rather work for a record label or an artist specifically? And if you pick artist, which one? And it can't be Taylor.
Right. So I went artist. I think with a record label, I'm probably stuck in a cubicle, probably doing boring stuff. Mm-hmm. If an artist, I get that one-on-one time. I get to know you, all of that stuff. And I would very much like to work for Kelly Clarkson. So.
Okay. I did not pick record label, but for different reasons. Again, on a record label, you could have a lot of people and you could not like a lot of those people. So yes. I want to be with who I like.
Right.
I too went with an artist, and I went with Kelly Clarkson as well.
Look at you. Okay.
I like her. I like too that it's the crossover with her TV show.
Yes.
And music. So I like both sides of it. And also if I'm working for someone directly like that, I want to like them as a person. And I feel like I like her as a person.
Yeah.
Agreed. Would you rather attend the Grammys or the Oscars?
This one was really tough for me to figure out which one I wanted to do.
Okay.
Just because I tend to lean towards the style with the Oscars. But I hardly ever know any of those movies that they're up there talking about. Yeah. So I went Grammys because I think it'd be more of a fun vibe. A little bit more laid back so you don't have to be so uptight. So I'm going to go Grammys on this one.
I went Grammys because of the performances.
Okay. Yeah.
And again, with the Oscars, half the time I'm like, is that a movie? What's happening?
No.
Okay. Would you rather have Taylor on the guitar or the piano, even though you're a surprise song hater? Go ahead.
I love the piano. So I'm going piano on that one.
Okay.
It just gives more of that laid back vibe. So I'm going to go piano.
I went piano too, because I feel like whether it's in surprise songs or like back when she did her Tiny Desk on NPR, I feel like you get more of her emotion, and I feel like we get more of those big ballads that we love when she does piano, more so than guitar. And this is probably an ignorant statement because I'm not musical in any way. So this could be wildly wrong. but I'm going to double down and say it anyway, even though I'm in my head like this is a bad idea. I feel like it's probably harder and shows more of your ability to play the piano than the guitar.
I mean, I think they're both pretty difficult, but I could see piano being much more difficult to learn and play. Listen, I come from a musical family. My mother gave piano lessons. My dad was an accomplished pianist. My mom finally just said, this is not going to be your lane. Let's not. I can't do it. So I'm always going to think piano's hard.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like with the guitar, just feel like with the guitar, you can kind of just strum along.
Yeah, that piano's got a lot of keys.
And your toes have to move, and a lot of things happening. Okay, I do not know where you're going to go with this one. Would you rather have dinner with Andrea or Scott Swift? I think I know what you're going to say, but it could be a Dan and Shay moment.
1,000%. Dan and Shay are invited.
Okay, of course.
1,000% I'm going Scott Swift.
You just want to see his camera roll.
That's exactly what's in my notes. The potential is there to know what is in that notes app and what's in that camera roll. I just listen.
Okay, I knew that's what you were going to say. I'm going
dinner. Come on.
I'm going Andrea. I want the behind the scenes of raising that person.
That's fair. We'll share notes after our dinners.
Perfect. All right. Last one. Would you rather be business partners with Jason or Travis? Kelce.
I went Jason on this one.
Okay.
I think my anxiety needs somebody that's very on top of it. And I feel like Travis has so many people that are working for him and doing this and that I feel like Jason's much more smaller controlled. So that's literally the only reason I went with him. I'll join a business with either of them, but
sure. Yeah. Y'all just give us a shout. We're happy to join. I went Travis, and I went Travis because I feel like the interest would be so varied. I feel like Jason, it comes across at least, he could be silently involved in more than we know, but he's very like narrow focused. And I love that Travis, it's kind of like my brain works. It's just like, he's got this kind of business, he's in this. And I think I would love that.
Yeah. Jason does a lot of remodeling, like house flipping and stuff on the side. And I love that.
Yeah.
So I think that'd be a lot of fun.
All right. Are you ready for the why factor?
Let's do our whys, guys.
All right. Let's start with the bad. What are you not liking?
So the bad this week, I am not liking that it feels like the layers of hell when you step outside. Listen, down here in San Antonio, it's just not unpaid.
Yeah. How hot is it today there?
I think today we're at 101 is the actual temperature. So
walk in the park.
Yeah. When the news is like, be careful with your tires on the roads, guys, because they'll melt. I just feel like this isn't a life worth living. We can't do this. Yeah. So that's what I'm going to give up this week.
You're going to give that up. I'm glad you're going to give that up. Okay. I don't know if you're ready for my dislike today.
I hope it's spicy. I love spicy, Mandy.
I do not like Dumois.
Why? She seems so good.
Now, I have to be honest with you guys. We have, lambasted Dumois before on here. And we stand behind that wholeheartedly. I still had been following her. That is my confession part.
Okay. Which I didn't know. So when you were sending me screenshots, I was like, how does she know this? And then I was like,
yeah, I feel like I'm back at youth camp and I'm going to have to break my secular CDs now. No, I'm going to have to stop though, because I have to remember that clicks are what keep people like her going. And this past week, she put a story out about Travis. Travis was in LA for Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's wedding. He went to dinner at a restaurant that is only for very rich and famous people. It is impossible to get into. A restaurant he's been to many a time with Taylor. There were other celebrities there. And so instead of saying, hey, here was the crowd that was at the Birdcage, Dumois says Travis was out at boys' night with Tristan Thompson and Leo DiCaprio. Were they all there? Yes. Did they speak? Apparently, yes. Were they together? No.
Yeah.
But she is a shit stirrer, and I just can't. But here's my problem. My problem is not even that she put this out, because that's typical Dumas. It's just like the Newsweek jackwagon clickbait. What I have a problem with is she doubled down after, because apparently the Swifties came after her. They were pissed.
Well, yeah.
And because she also insinuated that a picture that his friend Joe posted was Travis walking away from a pool with a scantily clad woman. It wasn't even Travis. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Swifties were not happy. And so they came for Dumas. Well, of course, Dumas, victim as she is, the martyr of all martyrs, just literally every question that came in after, when people were like, I don't understand why the Swifties are coming after you. They're so crazy. And she's like, I know, right? I'm such a stan for Taylor and Travis. Sit down. Sit down. So I have officially unfollowed Dumas.
I feel like that's good for you, though.
It's probably healthy.
Yeah. I like that.
All right. What are you liking this week?
Okay. So what I'm liking, I found a documentary on Peacock that I watched this past weekend. I think there were 6 episodes. Now, it's from 2021, but it is called Golden, The Journey of USA's Elite Gymnasts. So it followed the gymnasts for the 2020-2021 Olympics that were in Tokyo. So you get behind the scenes, you get their coaches, you get their families, you see all the work that they're putting into it. You get to see the competitions that they go to. We got to see the trials from last Olympics. It was so insanely insightful and well done. I really enjoyed it. It was so good. It was a long 6 episodes, but it felt like such a quick watch. So I loved it. I hope that that was just season 1. I really hope that there's a season 2 that will follow this year's group. So,
yeah. That's a good one. I'll have to add that to my list. I guess I should have brought this up earlier when we were talking about podcasts that we've brought up on here. I went with Bussin' with the Boys. So
give them a shout out.
So I knew of Bussin' with the Boys. Taylor Lowen? I don't know. Used to play in the NFL in Will Compton. I knew their show existed. I've seen clips here and there. And honestly, I had a bad vibe from it. And I don't know if it's because they kind of bag on the Chiefs a lot. I don't know if it was that. I don't know. I just had a bad vibe. I've never listened to any of it or watched any of it, but it wasn't on my radar. Travis was on there when he was at Tight End U, and I just now finished watching the whole thing, which wasn't even long. It just took me forever. Yeah. And it was a great interview. I liked their dynamic. But what I love is what they have done since then. So obviously Travis being on there, he talked a lot about Taylor. The Swifties came in full force.
Of course. We'll give you all.
Where a lot of people, I think, could be annoyed. Like, oh, you're just watching our show because of this, whatever. No, not these 2 jacks. They came in, they're loving it. First of all, like from a business sense, it helps them. So like, let's not be stupid. It helps them get views and downloads. And that's what people in this world need. Right. Right. But also they've like fully embraced it. I saw Will Compton said on Twitter, he's like, yes, came completely out of left field. It's been a huge boost for us. Not going to lie. It helps. We loved it. He's like, but let me tell you, I did not expect to going into this that I would appreciate the Swifties. And he's like, I would fight you over them now. And I'm like, exactly. We're not crazy.
I love that he acknowledged he acknowledged that they knew having Travis on there and him talking about Taylor was going to give him a boost, but he acknowledged that we had no idea to the magnitude that the Swifties show support. So that was nice to see.
Well, and I also think, though it does feel like Travis has his hands in everything, I think if we're all honest and take a step back, you can tell that he's stepping back from things. He even said this week that he didn't go on that Receivers show because he's tired of the reality stuff.
Right.
I think he is being more careful and being more calculated and strategic about what he goes on, what he says, and all of that. Yes, I think that is very much because he's with Taylor now. I think he has new people. Pia Dawn, I think. If not, she's not in charge of anything, thank God. Yeah. And so the fact that he went on their show and so freely and willingly, he brought up Taylor more than they did. I mean, sure, they had some questions, but like he had the commentary. And I think then I was like, okay, well, maybe they're legit. Maybe I should listen.
Yeah.
But they're a fun hang, and they're really funny on Twitter or X, whatever you
I was
call
going
it.
to say, Will on Twitter is a real follow.
It is gold. It is a great follow. So shout out. I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Those
I think that's everything. Did we miss anything?
Whew, we covered a lot. So if we did, we'll talk about it next week.
That's all we can do. We can only do what we can do, people. So.
That's right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Please give us a follow wherever you listen to us, whether you're on Apple or Spotify or YouTube. And if you're on Instagram, give us a follow at whyspace.com, like all spelled out.
Yes.
And we'll see y'all next week.
Bye, guys.